Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm coming on tonight before I leave out in the morning. I tell you, it has been one of them days where I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't know if I was coming or going. Just had so much on my heart, so much on my mind that I kept asking myself, what am I doing? What are you doing? But right now, I just want to bring some clarity on Tell the Truth Thursday. Earlier today, when I tell you, I didn't know where my mind was at. I really, people can tell you, I even deleted what I put on earlier today. But you know what? I'm back now, and my mindset is very clear on what I want to say for Tell the Truth Thursday. My mindset is clear because when I was speaking earlier today, Evangelist White could tell you my mind was discombobulated. But you know what? My mind is clear right now, and I'm going to speak from my heart, but I'm going to speak something that's true and something that is raw. Something that is true and something that is raw. And when I say that, I'm not they think it's okay. I'm sick and tired of these so-called evangelists, these so-called bishops, apostles, whatever your title may be, apostle to the elect, the Pope Paul, chief apostle. To my understanding, the only chief apostle that ever lived was Jesus the Christ. Now, let me just say this. Like I said, I got a little bit of education. I hope my mama don't hear me say that because she's going to go off on me if I say it again. She already let me know that. But let me just say this. When we start talking about who life is good, who life is bad, what lives mean to us, wait a minute, hold on, Sean, thank you, bro, thank you, hold on, wait. My brother had to check me right there. That's my brother right there, y'all. Give me 1 second, y'all. Un momento, por favor, please. Sean, how was that, Sean? Joyce, can y'all hear me? Evangelist White, can you hear me? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me get back to what I was saying. Earlier today, I couldn't really talk because my heart was going out to so many people. Like I say, Evangelist White, she could contest to it. I was talking, but I kept messing up. My words was being joggled. So I basically deleted that actual post. I did because I couldn't get my bearings straight. But let me tell you something. Right now, I'm going to say what I have to say. Some people may not like it, but I don't care. Because y'all know me from the rooter to y'all know I'm going to say what's on my heart to say, and that's going to be it. But, you know, some people asked me if I would chime them in to what I was going to say this evening, and I'm going to do it. I'm sending them the invites right now as I speak to you all. Give me 1 second. So, what I'm saying is this. It's funny how all these preachers out here, some of them are jackleg preachers. You got these jackleg bishops, apostles, deacons, elders, prophets. They're not prophesying, they prophesying. So I'm just here to tell the truth tonight. I may offend some people by what I'm going to say, but you know what? Somebody needs to say it. The Bible tells us to cry out and spare not. So guess what? I'm about to cry out and I'm not sparing anything, because at the end of the day, I get sick and tired of people using the body of believers, using church folks, using the people who say, I want to be saved, using the people that say, I need to be saved, using the people that don't have the sense to say, Jesus, I thank you. But you have people who will stand by and say, you know what? I'm going to pray for you. But then you have people that stand by and say, well, in order for me to pray for you, it's going to cost you something. So my question to you today is, all you church leaders, what is it costing you to save a soul? What is it costing you to bring somebody to Christ? What is it costing you? Because everybody has this notion that if I don't get paid, I don't preach the gospel. If I don't get paid, I can't do anything. If I don't get paid, this is what I can't do. If I don't get paid. But you know what's so mind-boggling to me? You have to realize that the God we serve will reward you no matter what come or go. The God that we serve will bless you no matter how it looks on the outside. But you know what? All these jackleg preachers, you want so much money just to preach God's word. So what is a soul worth to you? Is it worth you gaining money? Is it worth that you're willing to fight a bad fight, to fight a good fight? What is it worth to you? I'm chiming people in because people told me that they wanted to be on it. So I told them I will do it. Yeah. So what is it worth to you? And I don't understand that. I put up a question a few days ago, and the question came from a conversation I was having with another person. And this person told me, hey, cuz I will be there in the morning. This person told me that it costs if he was a musician. He asked for a certain amount of money to play at a church service. And he told me out of his own mouth, he said, Bishop, if the money is funny and the change ain't strange, guess what? I'm not going to play. I said, so you're telling me that the gift that God gave to you, you're saying that if you can't get a paycheck, you will not play? And he told me out of his own mouth. My bishop told me, my apostle told me that a workman is worthy of his hire. So you're telling me that you're going to tell God on Judgment Day when he said to you, well, my son, who have you saved with your music? And you can tell him, I didn't save anybody because they didn't offer me a paycheck. The devil is a lie. And if you're that strung up on money, you're that strung up on your talent, then guess what? You don't need to play. You don't need to play. You preachers, y'all got all these high honorariums. And these honorariums that you have, you saying that, it's God sent. You're lying. You're lying. You have to realize something. When he sent out the disciples 2 by 2, he told them to do what? Can somebody tell me? Do I have any preachers in here that's going to tell me? When he sent out them disciples 2 by 2, what did he tell them? Come on. So I'm saying that because you have to realize something. He sent them to get souls, not to bring back gold or silver. He sent them to save the lost at any cost. And if they didn't accept his word, put the dirt up under your feet and move on to the next city. But now we have preachers who said, I'm anointed by God to preach his word. And you will say that in the pulpit. But if nobody is offering you the right money, you do what? You will bow down. You will bow down. Yeah, you will take a back seat for the almighty dollar. You got all these titles: apostle, apostle elect, apostle chief apostle, apostle to the great white throne. You got bishop, bishop elect, bishop to the city, bishop to the nation, elder to the city, elder standing elder. We got all these titles. But churches are still filled with a lot of hell. People are still dying every day. So you believe tell me you behind the 4 walls is what God called you to do? When the Bible tells us that God did what? He compelled man to come. We are to compel man to come. So standing behind 4 walls with an offering plate doesn't make you, it doesn't say that you're compelling man to come. You know what's funny? Before I became a pastor and elder, I used to sit down and watch how, I was an elder because they consider elders nobodies in a few churches. I would sit down and watch how the preachers would count the number of people coming to the offering plate. And I said, Tasha, I don't ever want to be like that. I don't ever want to be like that. I listened at a person's grandmother tell me out of her own mouth before she passed away, she was just waiting for her pastor to come. Her pastor never came. Because guess what? The offering wasn't sent. She was a day one member. She was a day one member of this church. And since the money was funny and the change was strange, the pastor never went to see this member on her dying bed. But they called little old me, and I went. And see, that's what we have to understand. That we have to understand. If you say you are called, I really don't care what religion you are or what belief you are. If you say that God called you, then guess what? Let it be known that God called you. Let it be known that God called you. See, I have a cousin that just chimed in, but I'm going to say what I have to say to him tomorrow at my cousin Linda's funeral in Birmingham. Because, see, I remember when he was little. He was little. And when I got into the airport, he went to pick up my bags. And I said, no, cuz I got this. He says, no, you an elder. He respected the title. And he was in high school. Preaching in high school. When I said preaching, he had a day that was signified for him that he could have morning worship in high school. And now he's a pastor to this day. Yeah, he's my little cousin, but you know what? He's a grown man now. And I was going to save some of that for the funeral on Saturday. But let me just say this. We as the body of believers, I'm just telling the truth. If you are a leader, you need to do some reevaluation. Because see, the pandemic told about a lot of people that's out here doing what they're doing. The pandemic told about it. Oh, doors of churches closing. Who had the adulterated gauze to send a deacon and a trustee to somebody's house for tithes and offering when you wasn't when they wasn't working? I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth. You send deacons to somebody's house that's in need. They don't have the money to give you. You go on. Now you can't pray for them. Now you can't call them. But when the money was right and the change wasn't strange, guess what? You was on the phone calling your members. You was texting them every day. So where does that lead us as leaders? I'm still getting on planes, paying my own way. I'm still getting in rental cars, paying my own way. I'm still standing behind the holy mantle, paying my own way. So guess what? At the end of the day, no, I am not rich. But guess what? All these mega churches, why are you filing for chapter 7, chapter 13? Why you went from having services in the big house now to the small house? Now you want to give everybody their kudos. You want people to come preach for you now. Don't understand it. Don't understand it. You having 13 and 14 revivals in a month. I don't understand it. But you say that God called you. Maybe my cousin Brian is here. Maybe Pastor Murphy can tell me something. Where in the Bible does it say when Jesus walked this earth, he was allowed to go and say, if you don't give me a certain offering, I can't minister to you. Maybe he told Zacharias, if you don't come down from this sycamore tree and give me some gold, I can't bless you. The woman who had the issue of blood, Jesus would have told her, well, you know what? You've been doing what you've been doing for years. Keep on bleeding. No, he didn't do that. He healed the sick. He raised the dead. He blessed people along the way. But we can't do that now. Everything that preachers have now has a dollar figure on it. Why is that? You know why? Because mainly, I believe some of the members have orchestrated their pastors to be what? A god. And see, I serve a jealous God. He says, have no other God before you. But you have made your pastor your shrine. You have made your pastor your God. Like you have made your account, like you have made your bank account and your car and your children and your wife and your husband a God before the God that we serve. The God that sits up high and the God that looks down low. We have made gods before them. I sat here in my study today and I was so perplexed because I was thinking about the question that I put out there. Is your financial gain more important than saving souls? And I heard from two people. And I know that I wasn't going to hear from no preachers. Because, people say, Bishop, you kind of controversial. You can say what you want about me, but your action speaks louder than words. Anytime you have 5 and 6 revivals a month plus, but you can't go out and save a soul. You can't go out, you can't witness or you can't go to your members and pray for your members without a money figure being put on the table. Then how deep is your ministry? You got 50 and no more. Some of you got 10 and no more. So how deep is your ministry? How deep is it? When was the last time you went outside of your 4 walls of a church or your home or wherever you may go out into the hedges and the highway? When was the last time you went out and you compelled a man to come? When was the last time you preached to somebody that was in the street? When was the last time you blessed somebody that needed to be a blessing too? When was the last time? You don't have to tell me. I'll wait. Because see, we don't have preachers talking like this anymore. Why is that? Oh, it's controversial. I need to keep my members in. And see, one thing, I stopped talking about homosexuals. If y'all realize it, I stopped talking about them because you know what? That's God's job. That's God's job. We are losing people because of the rhetoric that we speak on Sundays. We are losing people. Hands down, I have nothing against the homosexual. I have nothing against the lesbians. At the end of the day, if they come to church and they want to be saved, I have nothing against them. But they will not hold a title. They will not sit in nobody's office, be laying hands on people. No, you can't do that. Now I have an issue with that. Jacob Muhammad says, Jesus said, throw down your fishing nets and become fishermen of men. You're right, Ja. We was taught that as children, sitting on 390 Brunswick Avenue. We don't have no more fishermen that's willing to throw down their nets. We don't have that no. We don't have that anymore. They say they are, but guess what? To throw down your net is going to cost you some money for me to throw my net down. And I'm sick and tired of it. We got people in hospitals. It's funny. Let me put a pin right there. Before my aunt passed away, I went to go see her in the hospital in Willingboro, New Jersey. And when I went to go see her, like I said again, I don't understand how this can be happening. I'm walking out of the hospital, and before I got on the elevator, there was a lady with her mother, and the lady, she seen the collar on my neck, and she said, "Excuse me, you are a pastor?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Will you pray for my mother?" I prayed for her instantly, right there on the spot. Then I asked her, I said, "Where do you fellowship at?" She told me the name of the church. She told me who her pastor was. I said, when your pastor comes, just tell him that Bishop Parham stopped by to pray for your mother. She said, "My pastor has never came. We've been trying to get him to come." That's before I got on the elevator. I'm going down on the elevator. My wife said at that time, she says, She says, wow, that was interesting. I said, yeah. I get to the lobby of the hospital in Willingboro, New Jersey. Okay, I get to the virtual hospital. There were 4 people in the actual waiting room. Somebody passed away in their family. They asked me to have could I say a prayer for their family member? I don't want to say the family member name because everybody, probably in Willingboro in that area, knew who the person was. I said a prayer. The woman asked me to have a business card. They thought I was local. They wanted me to come back and do the funeral. They thought I was local. I told my brother, I was talking to one of my sisters, and I told her about this. So what is going on when it comes to leadership in churches? You got little people like me in a hospital that I'm not even familiar with. People asking me to pray. I get on the elevator, go downstairs. Somebody has passed away. The young man passed away, and what happened? They asked me to pray. I didn't charge them to pray. I just began to pray for the family, for the healing of the family, for the gathering of the family. But guess what? Everybody wants a daggone dollar just to pray. People want a dollar just to bury somebody, and we got all these issues. We got issues, and people are dying every day. We got issues, and people are dying every day. People need you in hospital. The Bible tells us to go. When was the last time you went to the hospital? You walk. It's funny how. Let me just say this. When was the last time you went to a hospital and walked through ICU and just prayed as you was walking through? You could walk around a little circle with all the people in ICU. Okay, let me just help you. As a preacher, you can actually walk through ICU. Yeah. Intensive care unit. The only unit in a hospital that they may not let you walk through is a CCU. That's the critical care unit. And you just prayed. Walked in and prayed and walked back out. Went downstairs, walked through the lobby and just prayed and went your merry way. We don't have that no more. We don't have no more true missionaries. Because now missionaries wear fishnet pantyhose. They wearing tongs and thongs. They cleavage is showing. We don't have no more real missionaries. We don't have no more women of God who's willing to do what God say. Because you know what? Now it's not about that. It's about who they sleeping with, who the deacon sleeping with, who the mother church sleeping with. Now we don't have no more real missionaries. Real missionaries used to go to houses. They came outside the church house. They went to houses. They washed walls. They washed clothes. They helped feed those who needed help. We don't have no more true missionaries. They're long gone. They're long gone. I live in the South where I thought everything would be on the biblical side. I live in the Bible Belt. But I was sadly mistaken. Because, see, you have to realize something. If the money ain't there, guess what? People don't preach. People don't go out and knock on nobody's door no more. I remember growing up in Trenton, New Jersey. It was just one man. I can't think of his name. Somebody here might know him when I said what I'm about to say. I seen this man at every funeral that I went to. He had a collar on with a black suit. Every single funeral. And I didn't know who he was. But every time I went to a funeral, this one man was at every single funeral. Like he knew the people. He didn't know the people. But he said one time, I remember him saying, I came because there was a need. I came to support. And I remember the man, I know he had some glasses. He had thick glasses. He wore a black suit with a collar, with a cross and a chain. I can't remember his name. But this man, every time I turned around, he was at a funeral. He was at a funeral. Now, if you can't pay me to come, I'm not coming. If you can't pay me to play, I'm not gonna play. If you can't pay me to preach, I'm not gonna preach. If you can't pay me to go to the hospital and see about somebody's mama, see about somebody's dad, Reverend Lane, that's it. Thank you, Evangelist White. Thank you. Reverend Lane, exactly. Yes. Reverend Lane went to you look up, he had everybody's funeral. And he said, I just come to support. I just come to support. But see, people like that we laughed at growing up. But as I became older and I got endowed with scripture, I learned what the Bible says. When was the last time you went out and you said, I am my brother's keeper? And you went out and you tried to help the widows and the orphans without asking for money? When was the last time? Come on. So you have to realize something. Jakim Muhammad said about throwing out, how he told them to gather their nets and become fishermen of men. Now, people are becoming fishermen of their bank accounts. If my bank account not full, I have nothing to say to you. And I'm just telling the truth on Tell the Truth Thursday. I'm sick and tired of these pimping preachers. These pimping musicians. And no, I don't brag about what I do. But you know what? You cannot find one person that will tell you, in order for me to come preach for them, I charge them a dime. You can't find one. You can't find one. And like I told you, I take in my own airfare, my own rental car, and my own hotel. If you have a piece of chicken for me, I'm grateful. You can't find not one that will tell you Parham came and he pimped my people. You can't find one. I've had people told me they don't understand my flow. I go. I'm a blessing. But I don't charge a dime. But the same people that you watch on TV, the same people that preach to you on Facebook, the same people on YouTube, on Zoom, the same people won't come if you ask them to come, because guess what? You can't pay them what they want. You can't pay them what they want. That's why people ask me, well, why every time you come home, you always going to Bishop Boyd? Because you know what? Bishop Boyd is a true brother. He's a true friend of mine. He's a true friend. But you got them other ones, them jack-leg preachers. In order for them to come, they charging an arm, a leg, a head, and another arm. Yeah. I said it. I'm just telling the truth. And some of y'all don't like the truth, so guess what? Y'all can't get with this. But those of y'all who know I'm telling the truth, you can say what you want. Just know that I am telling the truth. I ain't afraid of nobody. I ain't never been afraid. I ain't gonna start being afraid now. I can fight. I always know how to fight. But guess what? When God changed my life, guess what? I am biting my tongue for nobody no more. For nobody. Yeah. People don't like inviting me because I'm going to preach the truth. I'm going to preach true deliverance. True deliverance. And that's what's needed. Because people are hurt. People are lost. I had a coworker. She sat up in our training. We was in training. And she had this thing where she was trying her best to figure me out. And when she was trying to figure me out, she would ask me certain questions. And she didn't know that I was a preacher, because I don't go around and broadcast it. She didn't know I was a preacher. And she said, it's something different about you. So I said, it's something different about you. So she laughed and I laughed. But when I was in New Jersey, the last time I was in Jersey, before I left to go to Jersey, me and this officer, we kind of bonded. And by just talking to each other, it told me a lot about her. By her talking to me, it told me a lot about her and myself. No matter how it looked, this officer and I, we bonded like brothers and sisters. Not knowing her lifestyle. She not knowing my lifestyle. And I was sitting back in class writing up a sermon. She walked past me after lunch and she said, "You're always in the Bible." She said, "What's this about?" She said, "You must be a preacher." So I laughed. I said, "I am." So she said, "I knew it was something about you." She said, "It's like you stuck or something. You going back and forth, you scribbling out words." I was working on a sermon, not knowing her lifestyle. And she said to me, "Well, why don't you just put that with that?" I said, "Well, why don't you put it with it?" She says, "Well, you being a preacher, you may not like my lifestyle." And right then that told me that what type of lifestyle she was. She had a girlfriend. I said that to say this. She took what I said to heart, not knowing me. She said, "Well, I'm supposed to be going to Greenville, Spartanburg, I think it was, Spartanburg, South Carolina, to see my grandma. I said, I don't want to go as far away, just that and the third." And I told her this. I was praying as she was talking to me. And then when she got finished, I said to her, "Look, let me say this to you. No matter what family has done to you, always go when your heart says go." I said, "Now you said that you want to go, but you don't want to go for this reason, that reason, that reason." I said, "Go because your heart telling you to go." I said, "Because you know what? You will never know the last time you will get to see your grandmother in the sense of living. Your grandmother can die next week. And guess what? You can say, I ain't go to see her." Now this is the crazy part. She went to go see her grandmother as I suggested to her, and see her family members. I came home to New Jersey. I'm witnessing to her. She told me we made plans on how we were going to start wearing our pink badges, these things here. We had a whole plan on how we were going to do things. I get home, I get a phone call. Because I was waiting for her to call me to tell me when she was going to the academy. I get a phone call, and the phone call said, "Hey, so-and-so was in a really bad accident. She didn't make it." My whole trip to New Jersey was kind of put on hold for at least 3 hours. Because I consider her to be a friend. And she went to go see her grandmother before she had passed away. I'm saying all that to say this to everyone this evening. No matter who you are, listen to the voice of God. No matter if you are a Muslim, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, Baptist, Primitive Baptist, Church of God in Christ, whatever you may be, listen to the voice of God. Listen to the voice of God. Because when she passed away, it did something to me. I had to fly back home knowing that my friend is not going to be in class with me. I had to fly back home knowing that, you know what, at least with the things that I say she listened to. She went to go see her grandmother, and I didn't charge her not one iota of a nickel to go see her grandmother. I gave her the word of God. I told her what God said. She even said, "I'm going to come to the church and visit you sometime." That was a friend of mine. That was a friend of mine. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her. I didn't get that chance. So we have to realize that no matter what the cost is, you have to be an epistle. You have to be true to who God called you to be. Everything doesn't cost out of somebody else's pocket for you. Learn to be a blessing. Go. If it costs you a little bit, somebody being saved is more than that little bit. Tomorrow is not promised to none of us. But we have to be who God has called us to be. We have to be who God ordained us to be. And if God didn't call you to the apostleship, step down. If God didn't call you to be a bishop, step down. If God didn't call you to be a pastor, step down. If God didn't call you to be an elder, step down. If God didn't call you to be a prophet, step down. If God didn't call you a deacon, step down. And a lot of people won't step down because guess what? They see that it's prestigious to have a title. It's prestigious. It's prestigious. I haven't used doctor in a long time. And I wasn't using it until people started using it for me. And I still don't use it. I'll tell you in a minute. My mama named me Fulton, but my dad got me straight. My brother got me straight on that tip. So guess what? It doesn't hurt not to charge. And that's just the truth. Stop pimping God's people. Learn that no matter what come or go, when God calls you, he will equip you. When God calls you, he will make provision. That's why I say to you, no, I had a friend, I have a brother, I have a brother friend in Mississippi. He was having his stuff. I told him I needed a date and a time. Guess what? I'll fly myself in. I'll take up my own hotel. I had a sister in Florida. I tell her, hey, let's plan it strategically. I'll fly myself down. I take care of my own bill. And God has blessed me beyond measures for doing that. I was always in Nebraska some years ago. Guess what? When I was in Nebraska, I went on my own dime. But it's funny how when I went, people came out of the droves for this gospel concert for little old me. I went to be a blessing. When I seen how they wanted to bless me, you're not going to give me $5,000 and the roof of the church still to be worked on. So you know what? Just give me $2 and I'm good to go. Went to church on Sunday morning. I was like, you know what? This family here, it needs help. $1,000. I came home with less than $1,000 out of $5,000 from one weekend service. God blessed me. Had to be about maybe 4 or 5 days later. I would have to ask Tasha. I received a check in the mail. And the mail, I thought the mail was wrong. I thought it was somebody playing a game. Until I read the letter. So, for what I gave out, God gave me double for my trouble. So sometimes you have to realize that when you are going places to preach, just ask for a date and a time and go. And go. That's why people don't like to hear, people don't believe that about me. But if you find somebody who I preach at their church, they'll tell you, I did not put a single cent on me coming to preach. I don't have an honorarium. But people say, oh, I don't got an honorarium either. But if somebody give you $25 and you don't went 3 hours away, guess what? Oh, you gonna be cussing, wanting to fight, put them down. But me, like I said again, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm proving a point. And the point I'm proving is this. I'm making is this. When you say that God called you, allow God to make you. Allow God to bless you. It doesn't take you going to robbing somebody's church. If you go and they give you a love offering, accept it and move on. But don't go asking for all this money. That's not God. That's not God. And I'm getting tired of these pimping preachers, these pimping evangelists. That's why they don't like me, because I'll call them out. I'll call them out. And that's the bad thing about it. Everybody wants $1 or a nickel. But how many people is really anxious to save a soul at any cost? How many people is willing? I got Jasper, Florida in here. I'm waiting for Deacon Carter to let me know when he need me to come to Jasper, Florida. I'm going to pay my own way. I'm going to pay my own way. So when he said I need you to come to my church, guess what I'm going to do? Give me a date and a time. And let's work this out. And I'll be there. So how many of y'all can say you have walked through a ICU unit? You have walked through a hospital, a corridor, and prayed and just walked out the door. And nobody paid you a dime to do it. I'll wait. When was the last time, like Reverend Lane, thanks, Evangelist White, Reverend Lane would go to anybody and everybody's funeral. You will see him there. And he'll tell you, I just came to support. We don't have that anymore. We don't have no more true deacons. We got deacons now that smoke weed in the church, smoke cigarettes in the church, drink 40s in the church. I remember years ago, if they seen a reverend coming, they'd tuck that cigarette to the side and then move out the way. Now they'll blow the smoke right in the pastor's face. Yeah. Now we got homos on the keyboard, homos on the organ, homos on the drum, lesbians directing choir. We got all this going on in church, and they laying hands, and we're not saying a word. But long as you're getting paid, brother pastor, it's all right. But what about the souls that need to be saved? What about the souls? Like I told y'all, judgment is going to start in the house of God. No matter what your title is, that's where judgment is going to start. Thank you, sir. I don't know why it's doing that. I guess the devil is mad with me. Your broadcast is blinking on and off. I guess the devil is mad with me, Deke. So, I say that judgment is going to start in the house of God. So everyone who is charging and raping God's people financially and spiritually, just know that your day is going to come. And when your day comes, woe be unto you. The blood will be on your hands. The blood will be on your hands. The blood will be on your hands. And when the blood is on your hands, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because guess what? If you need someone to speak up for you on the day of judgment, you're already going to hell. You shouldn't have nobody. You don't need no counselor. You don't need no lawyer. Because guess what? Your life, the life that you live, ought to speak for you. There was a song called "May the Work I've Done Speak for Me." The life I live speak for me. So the work that you do here on earth, in the land of the living, should speak for you. And when it speaks for you, God can say, that's my son. That's my daughter. That's my brother. That's my sister. Yes. May the life I live speak for me. May the life you live speak for you. So when it's all said and done, you can lift your hands and say, Lord, I did the best that I could with what I had. Lord, I did as you instructed me to do. And I thank you. So I said all that today that I'm just telling the truth. If I offended anybody, like I always say, give me a call. I've given out my phone number so many times. Give me a call. We could talk this out. But just know that it's real talk. And sometimes people don't want to tell the truth for Real Talk Tuesday, but I'm here to tell the truth. We all have fallen short of God's glory. But it does not cost a dime for you to go out and pray for somebody. It doesn't cost a nickel or a dime or a penny for you to go out and compel somebody to come to Christ, to talk to somebody about being saved, just to witness to somebody. Some people, you have to realize, people need to be witnessed to. People want to be witnessed to, but they don't know how to approach you. Ain't that sad? You say you saved, sanctified, filled with His precious Holy Ghost, but a person who needs prayer don't even know how to approach you? A person that's saying, I want to be saved, and I don't know how, but they are afraid to approach you? Who does that? Come on. Come on. I don't go around saying, I'm bishop, I'm bishop. I don't got a bishop across my forehead. I don't got bishop on my license plate. But you know what happens? Just by talking to people, they'll say, there's something different about you. Are you saved? When I visit people's churches, I'll get me a seat on the back row by the gatekeepers. That's why they can sit at by the gatekeepers. And by me just standing there, singing with the praise and worship team, opening up my Bible, not my tablet. Different subject, different day. Open up my Bible, going through the scriptures. When they read the scriptures, one of the ushers is going to say, are you a pastor? And I'll be like, yeah. But why are you sitting back here? I was in North Charleston. She said, well, why are you sitting back here? I said, because I'm also a disciple. So I'm the least among. I'm one of the least among. That thing I know, she done eased to the front. No, she told another usher, the other usher eased to the front, told the pastor there's a pastor sitting on the back row. And after the song was over, they asked me to come up. And I didn't charge them a dime to come up. You got some preachers who say, no, I'm all right where I'm at. But then when you talk to them, it's all about the money. So I said that to say what I said, y'all. If I offended anybody, give me a call. You know my phone number, 252-360-9833. I have to go put my camera in my bag for tomorrow. But I'm leaving out tomorrow morning, heading to Birmingham, Alabama. And yeah. And then I'll be home in 2 weeks. Going home to visit family for the end of the year. And then I'm going to preach at Bishop Boyd's final service. He's leaving his job and he's going into the ministry full time. So his celebration of success, I'll be preaching his service on that Sunday afternoon service. All right, so y'all be blessed. Have a blessed day. Pray for me as I pray for you all. Love me as I love you all. In Jesus' name, God bless you. Good night.